Hi, I'm Carolyn,
And I'm Carol,
and I teach drama.
and I teach English, and we often get caught up in the drama of our drama.
Yes. Today, we're going to talk to you about a fantastic production that we saw at the Kelsey Theater.
Yep.
Produced by Forte Productions, and it's A.R. Gurney's Sylvia.
And I have to say, I read the play before we went to see it, and I could not figure out how they were going to pull this off. The premise of the play is there is a couple, Kate and Greg, who are in their, I would say, 50s, late 40s, early 50s. Their children have gone off to college. They have moved from the suburbs into the city, and Greg comes home one day with a dog. And the idea itself is not that shocking, but the fact that the dog is played by a woman and the dog talks through the whole show, and it's like the dog and Greg are having this affair. When I was reading it, I couldn't really see how it was all going to get played out. And then seeing the production, it got played out.
Right. And A.R. Gurney's most famous for Love Letters, which is usually done with celebrities, their letters read back and forth, and it's very lovely, touching play about relationships. So this was kind of different in terms of relationship.
It was a little dark, I thought.
Yes, I agree.
I was a little... who was the actress that played Sylvia?
Oh, Maria Armando.
I couldn't really see it, and then when the play was in production in New York, Sarah Jessica Parker had played that role.
Yes, she did.
And I just still in my mind could not fathom how it was going to work out. But then Sylvia, this actress, convinced me that she was this dog.
Yeah,
Sylvia.
I thought she did an excellent job of creating the dog. When she would sit on the couch, the way that she would sit, when she would come up to him on his lap and, put her head on the arm of the chair.
Right.
And then, just when she would get excited and she'd move very quickly and in circles, like if you've ever had a dog, that's what a dog does. So I thought she did such a lovely job of creating the energy that needed to fulfill that character. Yeah. I thought that the Dan Keyser, I think his name's Dan Keyser, who played the three parts.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
He played those three roles. Little Shop of Horrors does that too, where they have an actor. There's a few plays where they come in and they play those cameo roles really quickly, and I thought he did an excellent job.
When he came in dressed in drag as Kate's old college friend, that Sylvia actually makes start drinking again, which was probably the funniest part of the show. When the woman says to her, "Just give me the whole bottle." We've all had those moments where we thought, "Just give me the bottle." But yeah, I thought he was really funny. Like he kind of. He made it lighter than it would have been without him there kind of coming in as the comic relief in the show. Yeah.
And I think that when we talk about this production, we talk about Sylvia, and I see how nice you look, and there was a moment when Sylvia got groomed.
Yes, she did.
She got groomed.
So I went and had my hair done at the blowout bar, which is so offensive to me on so many levels. And it's not only the blowout bar, it's called Cherry's Blowout Bar, which I told the woman who was blowing out my hair, you need to change the name of this place because it could be construed as being something other than where you go get your hair done.
Right. Well, but your hair looks great.
Well, she did a nice job. It's just the name that's offensive.
Sylvia goes and gets groomed. Why does he get her groomed? So that Kate will accept her, right? So that idea that we have to look a certain way to be accepted is kind of part of what this play was really about.
Well,
which was, his relationship. Because people, when this play first came out, were very offended that he was having a character played by a woman.
Yeah.
Right.
And I understand. I get that. I get why there would be that feeling about that. I didn't find it offensive.
I didn't either.
I really, I really, if I had to pick a character that I identified with, I really identified with Kate in the show.
Yes.
You know, there were times in the show, and I guess this attributes to the skill of the actor,
Gina Whalen, who played
or
Kate.
the guy that played Greg,
Kurt Penny.
Like there were times that I just wanted to reach and slap him and say,
Right.
you know, like just get over yourself already. Like, but that was the character, and you were
But I
supposed
think
to
it's
feel
part
that
of
way.
that kind of that stereotypical midlife crisis that
Right.
he's going through, and they live in the city, so he's not buying a fast car.
Right.
He's buying himself a dog.
A dog, but you know,
Right.
like you know, and he would be.
Well, he finds the dog.
He finds her, or she finds him, which
Right.
is sort of, you know, the premise of the show as well. And you know, he doesn't like his job, he doesn't like his boss. You know, he doesn't have any friends. You know, his kids aren't calling him. You know, and there were times when I just wanted to say, really?
Right.
Like, you know, you're living in this great apartment in New York City. How bad can your life really be?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I like about these kind of plays, and this play in particular does it nicely, is the ensemble. I like ensemble shows where you have this cast that's all working together. There's not a star kind of, even though we know Matthew Broderick played Greg
Right.
At one point, and Sarah Jessica Parker played Sylvia in another production. But the idea that they're all working together to create kind of this, these relationships to tell
Right.
the story of, you know, how this marriage is kind of falling apart, and how they're looking for things to kind of replace. He's looking for
because
Right.
Kate has
Right.
Kate has found fulfillment, right?
Right.
You know,
because they're empty nesters.
Right.
So they're at a point in their life where their kids are all grown.
They're at
and
college.
moved out, and it's just the two of them.
Right. And you know, she has a, you know, she is a teacher, and she's working on this curriculum to
Right.
teach Shakespeare to inner city kids.
Right.
And you know, she has found a place for herself. She has these friends that you see. She has this full calendar. They talk about, you know, she says, we don't have time for a dog. We have, you know, we go to concerts with this group of friends, and we go out to dinner with this group of friends.
I don't have time for a dog.
Right, me either. I don't either. We have a friend who just got a dog. I don't know how she thinks she's got time for a dog.
She doesn't have time for a dog.
Right.
Dogs are work.
They're a lot of work.
I think they're more work sometimes than children.
Well, Sylvia certainly was.
She was a
Yeah.
lot more work than
Yeah.
children.
Yeah. I did like the parts though, when she was chasing Bowser.
Yes.
That whole scene where she's in heat.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she goes out, and maybe she should have gone to the blowout bar while she was in heat.
Right.
But you know, that was funny to me. Like
Yes.
that was,
And the way they staged the park scene so that the park, you know, they're sitting on the set, and the park is like out in the audience,
yeah.
and so she runs off.
Right.
So you're kind of getting that sense that there's this gorgeous dog park somewhere,
Right.
And then she comes back,
Right.
and sort of tells the story about Bowser
and Bowser, and to see Greg's reaction to her and Bowser was
and that
fun
was
too.
a telling scene, the first scene in the dog park, because Dan Kaiser's character Tom says to him, "You don't give them a real name, because then you forget that they're a dog."
Right.
And so that kind of became the premise. You know, she's Sylvia. Why is she named Sylvia? She had a tag on her.
Right.
She's Sylvia. So that began his sort of relationship with Sylvia.
And the other thing that Tom does is every time they run into each other in the park, Tom has another self-help book.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I'm reading this book, or I'm reading that book.
Right.
And you know, the reality is none of us need those books to tell us how to live our life. And I think that was sort of a comment that Gurney was trying to make too, that we're always looking for some solution of how to make our lives better, and really our lives are not that bad to begin with. You know, like we're always looking for these things to, you know, how can I be a better person? Well, just be a better person and live the life that you have, and that life is, you know, for most of us, that life is pretty good.
And I thought that they painted the set gray,
Right.
because dogs don't see color.
Which I thought was a very great choice for them to do.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that gives you more of Sylvia's perspective. I thought the pace of the show was really nice. I thought the actors worked well together in terms of moving the scenes along.
Right, yeah.
Interacting really, like I always tell my acting students, you have to listen, right? And they don't always listen to each other. They're just kind of staring at the other person, waiting for the line. But I thought there was a lot of nice, like that's the ensemble feel that I like about these shows.
Well, and especially with Sylvia, because they were, the other, Greg and Kate are standing and she's on the floor the whole time, right?
Yeah.
And so she couldn't really read their faces if she was waiting for them, she kind of had to have that instinct of,
and I like the costume choices they made for her too. I mean, she's a dog,
right?
But
and we never know what kind of dog. Like he calls her she keeps calling her a mongrel through the whole thing,
right? Because she is, and so they kind of made those great choices.
Yeah, and there's the one scene where the three of them together sing "We Never," whenever we say goodbye.
Oh, yes.
Right, and their voices were really fantastic. The three of them blended together beautifully. Like I was not expecting that, because the other music is kind of piped in,
right?
It's canned music, and then they stand there and they have this really beautiful moment with the three of them together,
right? And the fact that she comments at the end of each scene with a quote from Shakespeare,
right,
which is kind of a theme throughout, was not, well, that's Gurney,
right?
And that was his commentary on what's going on in the play,
right? And there's this conversation that Kate and Greg have. She gets this grant to go to London for 6 months. And there's this conversation where he isn't sure he's going to go with her.
Right.
His conversation is, I can't leave Sylvia. And
I'm going to tell you, I know Carol is not an animal person.
I am not an animal person.
And I have 2 cats at home. And I get that, Carol. I'm like, they're your babies. I have children, but my cats are my babies.
Listen to me. It takes me 20 minutes to be packed to go anywhere in the world.
Right.
If I had a dog, the dog would just have to figure it out.
If I had to move to Europe and the cats had to be quarantined, I don't know if I could do that.
Okay.
I just don't.
But I don't get the whole pet thing.
I know you don't.
Like, I just don't understand people's attachments to their pets.
I love my pets.
I'm not saying that, but they're pets. And when it's time to go.
But they're family. And I think that's part of what this was, is that they're your, it's unconditional love. Dogs, okay, I know you don't like dogs and cats, but
it's not that I don't like them, I just don't need them.
It's unconditional love, right? So this man, right, Greg, is getting unconditional love.
Until he has to walk her. What does Sylvia say? Until you have to walk her in the wintertime, and then it's not going to be fun anymore.
No, it's not.
Right.
But the dog, she does. She loves him.
Mm-hmm.
She absolutely loves him unconditionally. His wife doesn't love him unconditionally.
No, right.
And I think that's very telling. But
by the end of the play, Kate has sort of accepted Sylvia. I don't know. I don't want to say she likes her better.
No, it's like, I'm going to be honest, my cats don't really like each other. They live together, right?
Right.
My husband does not particularly care for one of the cats, right?
Okay.
But he can live with the cat.
Well, I could live with him.
The cat, however, likes to hang out with him because I think the cat, Finn, wants my husband to like him more.
No, the cat's just irritating him.
So I think with Sylvia and Kate's relationship, there's some of that. Like, she wants.
Well, Kate is jealous of the dog.
Oh, of course.
Right. I mean, it's clear that she's jealous of the dog, and there, in some ways, it's clear that Sylvia is jealous of Kate.
Right.
Right. So Greg kind of tries to navigate back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But there were moments when I was laughing out loud. Right. There were moments, like I said, when I felt really bad for Kate. I did, like when she's trying to move on with her life and she's taking care of kids and done this, and now she has this opportunity to be something, and he's saying, but I can't go with you. And she's having to choose between her husband and her dream, because that's really what it is, her husband and her dream. I felt bad for her. And there were times when I really wanted to just grab Greg and shake him and say, get over yourself, please. It's not that important. Your life isn't that bad. And I think that's what Gertie wanted us to kind of come away with,
I think it's
right?
a really interesting play and commentary.
Mm-hmm. Don't die on me.
I'm not.
I do too. On like these sort of upper middle class, 50-something people who are trying to figure out their life. And my interpretation of the play was that the women are much better at figuring it out than the men than Greg was. I don't want to say men generally, but Kate was better at figuring it out than Greg was at figuring it out.
And I understand people didn't like the idea of a woman being associated with a dog.
Yeah, I get that.
But she was actually a pretty strong character.
Right. And I that was not offensive to me in any way. Like
No.
I could understand why somebody might say it was offensive, but for me that was not offensive in any way.
Well, we have to thank Greensleeves.
Yeah, look at all this.
Our cake tonight.
Yeah, look, it's a cannoli.
It is.
Kind of like a dog. It's supposed to look like a dog bone, but it's a cannoli.
There you go.
Can I eat my cake now?
Yes, and we want to thank Greensleeves Bakery in Flemington for these wonderful pastries that they
cannolis, brownies, cookies.
Yeah.
They're great.
Awesome. So until next time, break a leg.